Hey guys, I wanted to take a video and just kind of rant about why it's gonna be okay. So, why should you believe me? I used to be a very self-deprecating, insecure, and depressed person. And I don't think that was the thing I was very flagrant about, but I would just kind of isolate myself because I identified that my confidence wasn't where it should be. And in my earlier YouTube videos, I would kind of discuss on capitalizing on this mystique of the unknown. So, I felt really awkward and I didn't know how much worth I had for a long time. And it got to a breaking point where I wanted that to change. So, as you can see, some of my earlier YouTube videos were like how to leverage your femininity to get better treatment. And watching YouTubers like Princess Talia, who talk about, being neurodivergent and acting like a bimbo to protect your energy and avoid monitoring spirits. Things like that were very appealing to me. But, and I think to some extent, that's like my winter personality where I am kind of mysterious and more detached. But when it becomes summer and I'm happy to be alive, I want a deeper layer of ascending and being a high vibrational person. So, I just kind of wanted to discuss that. That's my credibility for all of this. But the most important advice I've got to give you, and I feel like everything in this video is just very much a yeah, duh. But when you hear this and you truly change your brain and reprogram your subconscious programming to do what you need to do, it's going to change things a lot. So, for example, last night I went to a concert and when I got there, I was wearing like a really crazy outfit and I was really shy because I was a little bit early and I felt like everyone was looking at me. And, I stretch my rubber band of abundance by doing things that might be out of my comfort zone so I can level up as a person and say that there's less things that scare the crap out of me, Because so many people nowadays, I think, due to social media and the fact that we live in a surveillance society, people are really afraid to do anything. And I understand because it feels like if you do something wrong, you're gonna turn into a meme. Like if I'm dancing and then I become self-conscious of how I'm doing it, someone's gonna be like, oh, they're unseasoned or something. So, and nobody wants that. Like, nobody, I think we all are very insecure, not like in a bad way, just straight up. And I think we don't want to be judged. That's like not a crazy thing to say. So, I think it's really important when you go out and you're in situations, actively put yourself in situations where A, it's going to take you out of your comfort zone, but B, there's a little bit of reprieve. So like for me, I've always really enjoyed raves and I like them because they're positive, they're good for your body, you get exercise, they're fun, you connect with people. People are in a space where they're open to make friends and just enjoy and celebrate. But it also kind of challenges me to be more outgoing and not be afraid of being perceived. So it heals that wound of, oh, I don't want to be seen, and takes it to a point where you actually enjoy being perceived or you're just ambivalent to it. And I noticed last night, I got there early and I was like one of the first people to dance, and in the past I would have been so scared and in my head, especially wearing like a going out outfit. Oh my gosh, people are going to look at me and judge me. But at the end of the day, you've got to seek your happiness. And the longer you seek your happiness is going to align with your highest self, your most pure, high vibrational self. And what I mean by that is when I'm a real doomer, I tend to do things that are not high vibrational for me. So, I was explaining to my friends recently, I've started a going vegan journey and I can't shut up about it because whenever I do something that's positive for me, I just want to share it with other people. That's why I created this YouTube channel. And I genuinely will get to that in a second. But you are here to find the most things that are going to make you happy, are going to elevate your life, are going to add to your worth and your vitality, and essentially empower you to live a fruitful life. And when I'm depressed, none of that registers with me. It's just like, what is there even here to do? And I think especially when you're smart, you're informed about world issues, and you see like we're kind of cooked sometimes, like what is going on in the world? We've really lost the plot. It can be really difficult to kind of find a reason to keep going and doing good things. I found myself getting very disillusioned with a lot of stuff, and wondering, okay, where are the good people? Where are the helpers? But it's like the quote, go be them if you can't find them. And for me, I obviously, I'm a big gym rat. I would eat a lot of meat. I did not eat healthy. I think a lot of gym rats have like a dirty bulk where you just eat whatever to get big. And since I've gone vegan, I feel like I've gotten a little more like lean and mean. Um and it's different, cuz I think it's just different. But I found that living a lifestyle where I feel like I'm doing something greater than me has helped a lot. And I also feel that way about raves. Like, I feel like going there, it's something greater than any individual where we're all coming together and having fun. And I just think you've got to find whatever that is for you. For me, the gym is another one. But find things you love and make pleasure the divine truth you're seeking. Again, and I say that, I used to say, like, oh, be an ethical hedonist, do whatever makes you happy, but make sure it doesn't hurt anyone else in the process. Have ethics, have morals. But I think the longer you seek pleasure, you will naturally gravitate towards, like I said, the highest vibrational state for you. So, you know, like for example, I know a lot of young women and men, I mean anyone, like gravitate towards hookup culture. Like, in fact, when I say pleasure, I think a lot of people think of like hookups. And that's to me kind of the antithesis of what I'm talking about. To me, pleasure is a divine state where you are stimulating your nervous system. There's, oxytocin in your brain. You are like feeling a sense of a reward for doing positive activities. And, if you don't know any, I think doing a new hobby, um, being with people, I always isolate myself, but when you want to be with people, at least go be with people. Be with people until you don't want to be. And that's really a big thing for me. It's like, if I don't want to eat healthy, I probably need to. If I don't want to go to the gym, I probably need to. And I recommend with everything as a person with ADHD, just try it. And then if you want to quit, quit. But in the meantime, do it. Um, Also, not to plug being vegan, but I just noticed, like, I feel like my face is a lot less puffy since I've gone vegan. That's just one thing I want to point out. And I think, too, finding little arbitrary hobbies can help you have something to live for or new lifestyle changes or whatever. And for me, like, I always see these memes online saying, oh, when you're having the worst day ever, but you got to go to your adult ballet class or something. But that is the point. And I reflect, especially as someone who's done ballet a lot of my life, like it's very hard to find an adult ballet class, yet most young children take ballet. And it's like, why do we not have positive activities for adults? Especially in America, I think it's really hard to find community. And that is something very primal that we need to feel happy. So, um, find it. I'm in a community in my town where it's like there's a lot of raves, there's music events, there's art. I was a model in a fashion show for my friends, like brands. There's a lot of cool stuff to get involved in. And one of the biggest things I've noticed that is super duper fantastic about society now is despite the atrocities, we yearn to connect. So I've met so many friends in my little community of artsy people who just started coming out. And, it was funny. Some people are telling me last night, like, oh my gosh, you know so many people here. And it's like, I've just genuinely had these people as my little family, my little circle for years. And I only established that through going out to events, participating in activities, talking to people. And I'm very much a loner. I like to do my own thing and have my own time to recharge. But I think you can create something beautiful and start to understand who you are when you're among others. And, you know, I said in another video I recorded, like, being in affluent spaces can also be helpful because you can see if you like who you are and you're proud of yourself, you know? But a big thing I've noticed is like when I am in an affluent space, if I'm the odd one out, I don't feel shame. My conclusion is not, oh, I am not polished enough to be here, because I like who I am and I have a strong ethos that like we don't need to consume to elevate ourselves above others, you know? So I just think it's very important to put yourself out there so you can learn who you are. I don't play about this quote from Y Tu Mamá También, the movie, where they say something like, "You're young, give yourself away like the waves of the sea," or something. Like, they ate with that. And I resonate with that. You know, it's like, do that. Do what you need to do. Go, you're here to get evidence you were here. You know, you're not here to return a blank slate. You come here a blank slate. You're meant to fill it up. And I just think it's interesting how so many people kind of are blank slates. Like, I've met a lot of people where it's like, do you know anything about yourself? Do you know what you like to do? Things of that nature. And it just kind of puzzles me. And I've been there. And I think with social media, I mean, nobody wants to talk about the fact like we were all born in the wrong generation, because imagine if we were not online all the time, how many of us would connect? It is very much that deep. You do very much need to get off your phone. Like, get off your darn phone. Because when I'm in public and I leave my phone in the car, I'm appreciating my setting. I'm talking to people. I'm making conversation. You know, there's more restaurants I've been to where I'm like talking with the person and making friends. And I met so many important people at, like I said, these events where I got off my butt and left the house and I said, ugh, I'm depressed. I don't want to go out tonight. And I was like, I'm so blessed to have things available to do, you know? And, um, it's just very important to have perspective, because the other day it was like 90 degrees here, 100 degrees, and I drove around my town and I saw like probably 40 people without a home. And it's like, it's not that deep ever to us. If you have a home, if you have your health, if you have food, and I'm not trying to guilt you. I hate when I'd have depression and people would be like, well, you should be grateful. You can have gratitude and have a chemical imbalance at your brain or maladaptive thought patterns at the same time. But for me, like, being vegan or caring about being a good example for people around me, you know, helping people avoid getting in the traps I was in gives me a reason. And I think whatever can give you a reason is good. And I want you to encourage yourself. Like, it's very hard to explain, but it's also not. It just doesn't make a lot of sense until you see it. And it's like the allegory of the cave where, you know, if I can see behind you, I know it's behind you, but you can't see it just yet until you are able to turn around. And I just think that, you know, the more you're in tune with your body somatically, you're like eating foods that make you feel good, you know, not to plug veganism, but I mean, fruits are high vibrational foods. They have like more of a vibration. You're not eating flesh, you're eating something alive from the earth. And um going out dancing, being in tune with your body, like I'm a big believer of, you know, I see a lot of posts online that say like decolonize or desexualize dancing. Why are things like twerking seen as a sexual dance? I think people need to do yoga. They need to open their hips. You know, the more you're in your body and in that bouncy, juicy kind of energy, the more you are going to just feel safe and feel sure. I have a feeling that I know I'm good. I know I'm protected in me. And the final thing I kind of wanted to leave you guys with is, you know, I always say we're all so young, because again, if you're less than like 80, you're young enough to make a change. You could make a change this week that's going to make you feel better mentally and or physically. But I make my YouTube channel and my whole brand as a human on just genuinely wanting to help people who are where I was. For me, I'm just a loner, and um a lot of times I felt like I am impressionable, and when I would meet people, they would make an impact on me, but it wasn't always a positive impact. And I want to be a person that people feel blessed to have experienced. Like, not in a narcissistic way, but like I want to leave a positive impact on others. And I think a lot of us do. And I think we tell ourselves we don't, because when we feel depressed or low self esteem, we want to isolate ourselves and we don't want to get better. Like it's like the Russian sleep experiment when they're like, we don't want to come out. That's how it feels to have depression. And I know a lot of really smart, wonderful people of our generation have become disillusioned with the combination of the surveillance society, the heavy reliance on tech, and just the times we're living in where it feels like, where are all the good people? We are them. No one's going to give you a blueprint on how to be. I would kind of say this in my early YouTube videos, and it's kind of what made me start going to the gym, but it's like, hot people have to come from somewhere. Nice people have to come from somewhere. Smart people have to come from somewhere. You've got to decide to be what you want to be. You're not going to just become it. But the second you decide you're that, you're that. And I was telling my friends, I've been vegan for like a month. Previously, I was vegetarian for 10 years. And then I just gave it up for no reason because I just got like lazy and sloppy and kind of lost the plot with a lot of things. And another big thing I struggle with is having ADHD. It's very hard to actually get medicine nowadays because there's literally a shortage going on. Obviously, as some people so kindly point out, I struggle to stay organized. And I've just become very much aware of the person I am. And I want you to understand that, like, you don't need to explain yourself to anyone. I've said this in many videos, but I know that, like, the way my house is laid out, or the way my car is laid out, or the way I act and talk and things I do, you know who you are. And you were, like, this makes me want to cry, but it's like when people say God's plan, like, you were put here for a reason. You're unique, and I don't want you to try to be someone you're not. And that's something I kind of wish someone would have said to me, but I said it to myself. And that's why I become a person I'm proud of being. And I feel like I'm not qualified, but yeah, qualified to give advice, because I just think I want to be the person that I needed, that would say, like, I'm glad you're you. I'm glad you're here. And I think that a lot of us need to hear that, and we don't. And I want you to know, the moment you start giving yourself those things, like, you can give it to others. And through loving others, you're going to love yourself, and you're going to fall in love with you through the lens of how they see you. And I think we live vicariously through how people are perceiving us on social media, or like, I just anything like criticism or fear of what could happen. I want you to live your most embodied life and worry about criticism when it happens. And even if someone does criticize you, you got to get this lens of consistency. I used to fear everything, like, oh my God, what if someone starts drama with me? I'd literally be a people pleaser and like try to be nice to people who I knew were judging me. For what? Like, and that is not embodied. That is low vibrational. Like, if you're doing things on your own life, making choices for you based on what others think, that is a icky energy. People can kind of pick up on that. It's like you're not genuine. You don't have integrity. So I just want you to be mindful of that. And yeah, I mean, every video I make, I get in an absolute flow state, and then it just randomly ends, and I'm like, eh? But, no, I heard a quote, I think it was Alice in Wonderland, but it was like, you used to be so much. I wish you would be muchier. Like, a lot of people really dim who they're meant to be. And for me, a big thing I noticed about myself is, like, I seek enjoyment, I seek beauty and love, and I feel happy when I'm embodying those things and in proximity to those things. And I think I'm able to give when my cup is full. I mean, as is everyone, but for me, like, I've always seeked, I think artists fundamentally seek beauty. Some of us seek comfort. Like, if you're an introvert and you need a regulated nervous system and you have a short social battery, but even still, I encourage you to do more things, because it's like, when at school you'd get, like, on the last day of school, like, a t-shirt and everyone would sign it, and at first it's just ugly, it's just a blank t-shirt, but the more people sign it and write stuff and draw and color it, it starts to look really cool, because it's just evidence that you were there and all of those people experienced you. And that's kind of like your body and your mind and your soul. That's what you're here to do. I mean, whatever religion you believe in or lack thereof, everyone would agree with what I'm saying, that the point is to do stuff and, like, make an impact on people. Like they used to say on Disney Channel, make your mark on the world. But I just really hope that helps encourage you guys. I notice when I'm a real doomer, it can I mean, it's in my head. It's not like something I can really be coerced out of a lot, but if I focus on feeling the pleasure of life and doing things that make me feel alive. A lot of friends I have actually have things like bipolar or BPD, because a lot of them are creative and they're very sensitive. And I think people like that want to live a good life, but they don't always have the tools. And I mean, honestly, a lot of mental illnesses like ADHD or autism, but even just like American society, I think we're all mentally ill in some way or another, like literally, because I just feel the difference from my childhood, where you just have fun. You'd like sit on the floor and color and talk with your friends. And, my friends and I would make up dances, and we would like call each other on the phone and watch YouTube videos at the same time and things. And I just noticed how technology was first a tool for enjoyment and connection, and now it's like a compulsory jail we're all in. And it's compulsory because it's so addictive. Another big hill I die on was like everyone in my generation's addicted to nicotine and stuff. And I just want to challenge you, like, what I kind of say this a lot, but audit your life. Like, what are some things you want to improve on? I want you to know you're very much capable and you do have the tools to improve if you have the desire. Like, for me, my body was a source of distress because I wasn't moving it, and I had a lot of just emotions trapped in it, and I didn't feel confident. And now I do feel confident, even if I take a hiatus from the gym, even if my physique is not peak, because I know what my body is capable of. And I want you to know that the more okay, look, here's the thing. When I get depressed, it's like, it's really bad because everything just adds on to it. But when you're embodied, everything you enjoy is going to amplify your enjoyment that much more. So I really want you to ponder those topics. And above all else, like, I had a friend in middle school. I told her I was just so depressed, I was fed up. And she was like, then change it. And, that's part of the coin. Sometimes you got to give yourself a kick in the ass, like, especially with phones. Oh my gosh, I said a bad word. I never say bad words on here. My bad. Um, but yeah, that's one side of the coin. Like, when you need to lock in. Me with being messy, it's like, I know it would make me feel better to clean, but it's not quite a priority always to me, and this is a big mindset shift. For a while, I was insecure about it. But now, whenever someone is like, oh, you should clean up, I know I kind of have a complex relationship with that, because it's a big thing I struggle with. And for so many people, that's like really stupid. But I want you to realize, as I say that, we all have something that's objectively stupid, but it's not stupid because it's your life and everything led you to have that struggle. So I never want you to feel embarrassed for your struggles, because I know about myself how sensitive I am and how many times I just felt like worthless because I had insecurities that I felt like weren't even valid. And it becomes this weird rumination cycle where you're thinking, okay, for example, if you go out, for me, going out is like socially is the biggest indicator of how someone feels because sometimes people's vibe is really bad and you can pick up on it for different reasons. But when I used to go out, I'd be so nervous. People were looking at me or I was coming across weird. And it's like you can only get better at that through doing it. And now I know if I come across weird to someone, I had good intentions and they should respect that. And I think that's how everything is. It's just like just do you, live your truth. And I think if your heart is in the right place and like you're genuinely trying your best and someone's a jerk about that, that's another thing. You cannot have confidence without, like, what do they say, like a swift hammer or something. I mean, if someone is mean to me or weird, no hate, but it's always like guys. Like, it's always guys when you're like out and about who say something really odd and you're just like, why would you say that? That's crappy. But like, you're trying your best, you're out here, you deserve respect. And another thing too, I think we repeat and suffer from cycles of interpersonal violence because so many of us are stressed and we don't have someone to like be our safe space. So for me, I feel happy about myself when I can be someone's safe space, but I also acknowledge that in order to give like that, I need my own space to recharge and disappear. But I move with like intentionality. Like, I don't agree to go to stuff I'm not going to go to. I don't text people all the time unless I want to talk to them. Like, I do exactly what I want to do. And I think through selecting the things in your life and trying new things, that's what's going to sign some cool signatures on your t-shirt. So I want you to know, like, be happy you're here. I'm happy you're here. How magical it, like, I am a person talking to you right now. I don't know who's watching this. I don't know where you're from, but there were so many moments I felt so alone, and just putting on like a positive YouTube video and hearing someone say those things. And I'm getting older. I'm beyond a point where I want to act like I'm cool and mysterious. Like, I genuinely want to ease everyone's tension as much as I can in this world to the best of my ability while also easing my own. And I think through doing that, you're going to find the people that like are here to love you and that you're here to love. I love you. I'm glad you're here. Not every day is going to feel good. And that's okay. You don't have to, it's normal to have feelings. Even, like I said, a lot of people have things like bipolar or BPD. And it's not only normal to have feelings for them, it's normal to have like mood swings. But it's about, how do I regulate that? How do I check what I've done to help myself today? So hopefully that gave you guys something positive to think about. I'm really glad. Thank you for listening. Um, Thank you for being you. I'm glad I get to be me. I'm glad I made it through all the hard moments, and that hopefully, like, me talking here will make someone feel that much better. But I want you to know, like, you're out here, your struggle. I'm out here, I know people's struggle. There's so many people here that we're meant to fall in love with and that are meant to love you. So if you haven't found them yet, just start being the lover and then you'll attract them. But I hope you have a wonderful day. I wish you guys health and prosperity. Do what makes you happy. Focus on what you like. Think of the things that are good. Don't worry about the bad. Bye.